Thank you for tuning in to another Mind Matters with Kay. Today I have someone super duper dope. Her name is Siobhan. Hi, Siobhan.
Hi, Kimmy. I know you guys call her Kay, but I call her Kimmy because she's very dear to my heart. We
You
go,
earned it, right?
yeah, I said we go way back.
Way back.
But one of the things that I wanted to say is I wanted to thank you for allowing me to come on your platform to kind of share this, because I feel like this is such an important topic when it comes to mental health. We take care of so many different other parts of our body, like we're going to see the dentist, we're going to see, our regular doctor, but we really don't pay that much attention when it comes to us mentally and how important that is. So I just want to say shout out to you, girl. You know what I'm saying? For highlighting that because it's so important.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It really is. And fortunately for me, the end of my journey is what God birthed me with this understanding for awareness. And he also allowed me to see that this is something that, again, we don't really tend to. Like you said, we go to the doctor, dentist, we get our hair done, we get our nails done, we get, but we're not paying attention to, are we psychologically okay? Are we mentally okay? Are we emotionally okay? So
Right.
I'm honored to have you here, especially because, like you said in the beginning, we go way back, like super way back, like
Yeah.
grade school, go back, like,
Yeah.
excuse me, go back.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to have this conversation with you.
Well, I felt like it was super important to especially talk about this particular topic because we as women, particularly Black women, we wear so many different hats, and
Mhm.
trying to find balance in our life can sometimes, but feel like overwhelming.
Mhm.
And one thing that I want to say is everything I speak about is from my own personal experience, right?
Mhm.
I don't have a doctor PhD behind my name, but I still feel like, it's important to feel like you have someone that you can talk to about this, kind of like in an open type of forum, right? Because sometimes people feel uncomfortable when they feel like they're talking to somebody in a profession because they feel like, it's not relatable. They don't really understand what it is that I'm talking about or where it is I'm coming from. But I've had a very, I'm going to say, interesting journey, right?
Mhm.
From being in the military to transitioning into corporate America and being a Black woman, doing all of that and dealing with different types of racism, and how I handle it. Because, I'm very spicy, like hot tamale spicy.
Yes, yes,
So I had
yes.
to find a way to be able to, I'm going to say, channel that properly, to make myself palatable in corporate America.
Yes. You have definitely always been spicy since grade school, but you have always had a bomb personality. And I respect honesty. I respect being blunt. So that for me was always like super dope. You know what I mean? But I do share your sentiments that when you get older and you elevate and you go into certain situations like work or being in the army, you do have to channel certain behaviors because it's either unacceptable, it's unbecoming, it's
Unprofessional, they like to use.
unprofessional, paralyzing. There's a
Yeah.
whole lot of things that come along with that, right? So I 100% get that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear my dog howling in the background.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. I had a
That's
guest yesterday whose kid was like running back and forth, and she's like, "I told him to stay in the room." I said, "Girl, it's okay. It's all good. It's
like
nothing."
this love is so infectious. So when they're not sitting right underneath me, they gotta just be howling. Like I'm coming. You'll be
Oh,
okay.
so I won't keep his mommy long.
Yeah, but one of the topics that I wanted to talk about is, how important it is to have emotional intelligence, not only in like your personal life, right? But it's super important in your professional setting because it allows you to truly like anchor to who you are. So it's also important to, have self-love and get to know who you are so that when you're put in certain situations and people try to place labels on you, you can say, no, I can understand where it is that you're coming from, but that's not really, me in the situation. Let's reanalyze this and have the
Right.
conversation again. And sometimes people are taken back when you can really like dissect it that way,
Mhm.
because they expect us to be so emotional, right? Because if I'm emotional, then I come off as aggressive instead of passionate.
Yes. Yes. Very
You know,
much so.
and then the thing is, with us being such passionate I had to learn not to take things on and take them in, because it's like I used to be like, well, I used to get upset like, that's not me. Are you serious? Like, is everybody here? Because I know, wait, let me just play back the situation. And I had to say, no, I was taking it in, right? And because I was taking it in, the projection that I was putting off was like, you are angry, right? Because you're being upset because people are not understanding you. And I'm like, it's not the fact that they weren't understanding me. It was the fact that I was making too good of a point, right? And they didn't expect that to come from me, right? Because of how I am, this sister girl who I had to learn to tuck away to be able to make me more powerful. So when I had these conversations, they're stopping to listen to what I have to hear, because no, I'm not the type of person to say, I told you so, right? But I am the type of individual like, well, I do remember having this conversation. And if I do remember correctly, some of the suggestions that I made, we should probably try them now and see how they work.
Right. See? And you see, you gave sister girl example, and then you gave the professional, the curated
Right.
right? So it's never really what you say, it's how you say it. Right.
And you know what? It's so, it's funny that you say that, because, I want to say I worked my way up at kind of like the management, and now I'm kind of like in the senior role. I'm working my way up to, the big boy executive role.
Congratulations.
Yeah, appreciate that. That's very hard work. And it was a lot of trial and error, you know what I'm saying? A lot of different versions of sister girl before you got the one sitting for you now. I'm trying to tell you. But one of the things that I tell my managers as I'm developing them is, I want to say, it was like this episode of The Cosby Show. I will never forget it. And it was like when Vanessa brought her fiance home from college, and they never ever met. And I didn't even know that she was like engaged. And when they sat down and had a conversation with him, it was like, it's not the fact that I don't like you. It's the fact that this is the way that you are presented to me, right? It was like the presentation wasn't palatable to me. Now, say for instance, if I was to say to you, like, what's your favorite meal? And you tell it to me, and I'm sitting here, I'm cooking it for you, and you can smell it, smell the aroma. And then I go outside back and grab the top of a trash can and throw your meal on top of it and serve it to you. How is that going to make you feel? Exactly, right? And that's exactly how you were presented to me in this moment. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it, it's how you present it, right? To make it more palatable. Like, I can tell you about yourself, right? And you be like, did she really just read me like that? And then I can tell you about yourself. You be like, you know what, this is crazy. So it's all in the way in which, you decide you want to make yourself look. And that's something that I had to learn. And it took me, I'm not going to say a long time, but it took me long enough.
Yes. But I will say this. We feel like it took us a long time because it's a process, right? Everything in life is a process. You get a job, the hiring is a process.
Right.
Homes that are being built, it's a process. Everything in life is a process, and we're not exempt from that. But I will say that although it may seem like it took us long, we are right where we needed to be at the right time because God facilitates it all, right?
I agree. So, and one of the things that I had to learn about that process is finding the beauty in it. Yes. Because I felt like if I didn't find the beauty in it, then I would find myself creating cycles because I'm not learning what I needed to learn on my journey. So I don't necessarily, regret anything. I definitely like, dang, I would do it differently that time because I know more now, right? But that's a good thing. So, and that's probably like I grab my flowers there and I take those flowers with me as I keep moving forward. Because the thing about it is we beat ourselves up and we make ourselves get stuck, right? And then sometimes we can trick our minds to think that people around us are doing it, right? But it's not them, it's actually us. Because only we can really change our situation.
Right. Because everything in life is a choice, right? We can choose this way, or we can choose that way. You know what I mean? It's ultimately up to us. But the things that we've endured only makes us better, right? And understanding your journey makes it that much more sweet, and you understand how far you've come and how much you've elevated. Because I too had a sister girl, attitude prior to where I'm at. What'd you say?
I remember. Girl, I think that's what we loved about each other.
Girl, we was two peas in a pod, like what? But I had to get that under control because I was praying to God for me to elevate in my career, right? And I was just so stagnated where I was. And I had this supervisor. It was she was an evil little heifer too, man. She was just like a malicious, intentionally malicious person. And we can't deal with that. It's like, yo, what's your problem?
Right.
But I feel like she was my test because there was a older Hispanic lady that I was really close to. And like when me and the supervisors to have words, I used to go there and be like, do you know that's it? And she gonna get she like, Mama, no, you can't do that. And I'm like, what you mean I can't do that? She gonna hear what I got to say. And she was like, she was be so calm. And I'm telling you, I always revisit this because it was because of her that I started to change my behavior. She started me in that because the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result, right? So if I kept meeting fire with fire, it was just going to go. It was non-conducive, right? So when this heifer kept doing what she was doing, I started to change how I responded to it, right?
Yeah.
And once I began to change how I responded to it, I not only kept my power, but I was able to preserve my energy and my peace because I was no longer entertaining this foolishness.
Right.
And when I got to where I needed to get to, God elevated me. He removed me from that entity in its totality and put me somewhere else. And I've been growing since. You know what I mean? So I needed to learn that lesson in order for me to elevate because certain levels God want to take us to, we can't go in there with that kind of attitude and mindset
whatsoever.
right?
And I feel like it's important for us to share our experiences, you know what I mean? So other people know that, you're not the only one that's going through this. You're not the only one that is experiencing this or going through this tough time. Like even right now, as we're speaking, right? I am in a situation where I want to transition. I'm not really happy where I'm at, but I know that, I cannot quietly or silently quit because I have individuals who are dependent on me. They call me the life coach, because not only am I helping you and developing you at work, but the things that I'm telling you can apply in your personal life, as far as what attitudes you decide you want to take on. If that individual decide that she don't like you, then that's on her because that has absolutely nothing to do with you.
Nothing.
And the thing about it is that she decides she wants to be nasty and you decide you don't, but if you feed into it, no one's going to be able to tell the difference between who's who.
Yep.
And that's where the confusion starts. And when the confusion starts, that's when we get super emotional, we get angry, we're not understood, but you don't realize what part you're playing in it.
Yes.
So I decide I'm going to be the bigger person, right? By not playing in it at all. And then who actually is winning the game?
Absolutely you. But when you're in a different mindset, you don't look at it like that. You like, she's not going to chump me. You're not going to get smart with me. You're not going to, and you realize like when you get older, it's like, what, girl, bye.
And then the other thing is, like I tell people, you have to understand and meet people where they are. Sometimes, people's environment and the things that they've gone through, their traumas, they don't even realize that they're spilling it out on everybody else. But if you have the wherewithal to see that, then you have the responsibility to act in that and not go down to where they are.
Yes. And 100% agree with that. And people's environments create who they are. It shapes them. And then they see the world through that perception, right?
Correct.
So I 100% agree with that. Your environment matters. It definitely matters.
It's like, I know I'm sitting here and I'm talking, right? And it sounds so good and so eloquently spoken. But the things that I have gone through to put these words together, I've definitely walked this to be able to speak it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So like, I try to prevent people from going through some of the pitfalls that I have gone through, even though God has, with his grace and mercy, allowed those falls to be super soft, right? Because I'm still able to move up. I was never stagnant. And that was only through his grace and mercy. Because my sister girl was very fiery.
I remember.
You know what I mean? Like she was very fiery. So for me to be able to be where I am, working through all of that, I feel like it's my duty to share this with someone else.
Yes. You know what? Because God doesn't take us through these situations to keep them to ourselves. That's why I have this pod, because at the end of my own journey, this was my vision that God gave me. And this for me was my gift because I went through the fire for 3 years straight. Like, woo, child, girl, honey, child, sister, girl, child, chicken, whatever you want to say. It was treacherous. It was a very dark time. But at the end of it, I'm so much better. He rewired my brain and my everything is different, right? So it's important for me to have a platform for people who want to share their stories because we never know who's going through what. And if one of our stories can resonate with somebody and they can use that as a blueprint and also create a safe space. So people are like, damn, it's not just me. Oh, okay. So okay. So it's not, I'm not crazy, but everything is a process, right? The first point of it is acknowledgement, awareness, then acknowledgement, and then proactivity. So once you become aware, like you said, you knew you had to, sister, same thing with me. I had to become aware and accept it first. Like, okay, I do act like that. All right, all right, God, I'm gonna get it together. Like, and it's a process because we've been that way forever, right?
Look, the environment we grew up in, right?
Yeah. So let me ask you, you were in the service. What branch were you in?
So I did almost 9 years in the Air Force.
In the Air Force. Okay. So and thank you for your service. Number one.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes. Before I go into my questions, how because with the service they say people gain a lot of discipline from being in the service. So do you not think that being in the service kind of helped you tailor your Miss Sister Girl attitude? Or
so I would say no, it refined her more. She became more poignant. I know. So I will say what the service did give me was discipline to finish what I start.
Okay.
Right? Because I will always start a lot of great things, but I would get bored in the midst of them and start something else, and I would never finish it.
Yep.
But the military taught me, no, you have to finish what you start. And that's why, I went and got my associates, my bachelor's, my master's, and I finished all of those things, so that's the discipline that it gave me. I will say it taught me how to tailor my sister girl, where she was very poignant, but like she wasn't rowdy. But she was like, when it was time for her to make her point, trust the whole entire room felt it. I know.
I'll be the laugh, but
she was never disrespectful because her mama raised her right. But you had to be like, but the thing about it was it would make them upset because I wasn't wrong, but it was always in how I presented it.
Yep, your delivery makes it. You can say, think about it. If you're in a relationship, right, and your man is saying something to you, it's not really going to be what he says. It's going to be how he delivers it to you, right? Mm-hmm. If he sits you down like, listen, I'm sick of this, and I'm not going to do that, or he like, baby, I need us to sit down. We need to have a talk. I'm not happy with some things. You're listening because of the delivery. But if you come over here thinking you about to talk crazy to me,
right.
You know what I mean?
So I only got one daddy.
Okay. Girl, I'm trying to tell you. Who are you talking to?
And he is not you. Okay.
And he is not you. So have several seats. Okay.
So the conversation already went left before it started. But exactly. So that was one of the things, like, I know. So I would say it refined her, right? It made her more poignant. She wasn't ghetto. She learned how to turn it on and off.
You were never ghetto, though, Siobhan. You were never ghetto. You're just outspoken. I wouldn't define you as ghetto, though.
Well, I mean, yes, I agree. But some people in their perception of the idea of my outspokenness, because I was also very, as you can still see, talk with my hands.
Me too.
I don't do it as much, but yeah, I used to do a lot of talking with my hands and a lot of swerving of the neck.
Oh God, Siobhan!
Look, when they made me upset, like the wrath, I was like Medusa. You know what I mean?
Oh.
But like I said, I learned to tell her in.
Yeah. So at what point did you? All right. So if the military was not able to tame you, at what point did you realize, like, all right, I really got to I gotta ring this in?
So it was when I left the military and started working in what we call the civilian world,
Mm-hmm.
because that's when I realized people are, I don't want to say it like this, but I'm going to say it like this, people are soft. So I couldn't speak to them in the same manner to get the results that I needed. And me,
Right.
I'm very competitive. I'm very results driven. So in order for me to get what I needed, I know I had to tailor myself. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to learn that everybody learns differently. Everybody
Yes.
don't learn the same way.
Yes.
And then, you know, I had to also incorporate everybody's from different environments. Right. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to find a balance between all of that to get what I needed, because I'm going to excel at
Right.
whatever it is that I'm doing. Because my mindset is, if I'm going to put my time into it, I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to give it 110%, because time is something that I can't get back. It's my most precious asset, my most precious
Mm-hmm.
value. So I'm going to put it all out there. And then, you
Yeah.
know, with my faith, I know it's definitely going to come back.
Girl, the faith is the root of it all. Because whew, if you don't have faith, because there's going to be days God's going to have to carry you through that and
Yes.
seal your lips, you know. Um,
Yes.
and you know how like we know our children, God knows His children. So I will say this: amidst my journey, I was going through a lot. I already had a lot of stuff on me, you know. That's why people have to be careful messing with people, because you never know what they got going on. You could be smiling, you could be dressing, you could be sociable, but inside you don't know. And for me, I was going through a lot. Pretty much everything you could think of, I was going through. But when I came to work, I shielded that. I checked it at the door, right?
Right.
But there was this one lady who just hated me for whatever reason. Like I didn't even know this broad, but like she just hated me, right?
Because you're
So
cute.
oh, thank you. And she,
That's
yeah.
usually why, because you're cute.
But I'm like, yeah, and I'm nice. People on my job love me. I speak to everybody. I don't care if it's the janitor all the way up to
Right.
the CFO. That's not me. I speak to everybody because we're all. I feel like we're all equal. Our um our profession does not define us. That's just a decision that we made to
Correct.
provide to earth,
At
right?
the end of the
Yeah,
day.
right. So it's not that deep. But again, she just hated me, whatever. So there was days I would entertain her nonsense because I was feeling petty. But then there was days I wasn't beat for it. You know what I mean? And she was like, she would try to get like her friends would speak to me. Well, I don't know what their friends, coworkers, whomever, but the people she used to be with would speak to me. And they used to get her so mad. So some mornings I used to come in and speak extra like, good morning, Maria. Like I used to like, girl, because I knew she would get right. I
Right.
knew she would get mad.
On it, make it extra sweet.
Girl, I used to do it on purpose with a big smile on my face. And there was one day that I just was not in the mood. It was not the time. Move along. And the lady spoke to me and I heard her saying something. I didn't hear what she said, but I heard the reaction of the person. So I'm like, what you said? And now I know I'm at work and I've been elevating at my job. But I snapped because I'm like, yo, like, girl, you know what I mean? So they ended up leaving. Thank God one of the guys I'm real cool with was in there because he was like, yo, chill. Like, you know what I mean? So that I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going somewhere with this.
Got you.
So at this time, marijuana was my decompressor. I used to smoke hella weed, right? And like for the rest of the day, I was fuming, right? I was fuming. On the way home, I was fuming. But I'm talking to God like, tomorrow, God, I'm sorry. She's getting it. Because
Right.
listen, you keep on poking the bear.
Right.
I'm here now. Listen.
On that door and she want to answer.
I'm
Like
telling
it's real hard to keep it inside.
Survive. I'm telling you, all night I'm outside smoking. I'm still talking to God like, God, I'm sorry. I know you're gonna be mad, but listen, she's
like, I'm trying to let it go and I can't.
I can't. And I was like, I know you'll be upset with me, but there's nothing that you can do or say that's going to change my mind because I've had it. And it really wasn't even just what she did. I mean, it was petty, but it was because of everything else I was dealing with internally. She triggered me, right? So I get to work the next day. You remember that the Kevin Hart show where he's like, my mother told me to tell you.
Yes. And he said it exactly like that. Curses and all. Yes.
So the excitement that he used or showed when he was saying that, that's how I felt. I went to work pumped. I'm like, yeah, God, I'm sorry, but I'm like, ain't nothing gonna stop me. So I used to see this person in the cafeteria same time every day, right? Same people, same place, same
Yeah.
this, same that. I go, good morning, everybody. Good morning. I go out there. She's not there. I'm like, look at my phone. Okay. So I go back in the other area of the cafeteria. Order something. I come back, go to the Dunkin' Donuts. Still not there. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to wait. So I waited
Right.
for like 15 minutes. She never came, right?
I knew you
So,
were going to tell me that.
girl,
That's
they
how God
tried.
works. That's
Yeah,
how God works.
yo, it's crazy because later on I found out she never came to work. And I was like, all right, God, I got it.
That's how God works. That's how
And
he'll do it like that all the time.
from then on, girl, I don't even look at you because you are so not worth it. But God saved me from myself because I could have really gotten in trouble going to work with the sister girl attitude. But he completely blew my mind because she just didn't come to work because he knew that there was nothing going to stop me if it was up to me. Right.
And the thing about it is, I think that's like the best blessing, right? Is when God saves us from ourselves.
Yes.
Because, I've had those moments. Actually, I've had one moment when he did it twice back to back, when he completely took the words out my mouth. Like somebody asked me a question and, I'm real quick. I'm quick. I'm snappy with it.
Yes.
And, and I was getting ready to say something and God took the words completely out my mouth. And when I was getting ready to say something, she looked at me and can tell that the words just left. And we just started cracking up laughing because she knew I was about to say something that was absolutely no good and had no business saying.
God snatched
it. And then when I tried to follow it up, right, he snatched it again. Like, oh, you think I'm playing? Oh, like, let me show you that I'm not. And all we can do is just walk away from each other, just cackling because God had never, ever done that. And it was done in such a way that I knew it was just him because when I say like the words left, like my voice was gone. Like I could open it up and nothing came out but laughter. Okay. And God said, let me show you. Okay. So that day I learned my lesson. Like, you know what? You're right. And I'm no longer going to allow them to even put me in that headspace.
Yes.
Because that's not where I'm supposed to live. Like, that's not what you have for me. So, you know what I mean? And I'm bigger than that. So I need to show them that I'm bigger than that. Even though, I can be Petty LaBelle when I want to. But why? But why?
LaBelle.
Yeah, but why even waste that, that emotion? You know what I mean? But that could be to better use because, like I said, there are several people that, I manage and I'm developing at work. And the things that they require of me takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So I need not waste it on the other things, even though they can be quite entertaining at times.
Sometimes you feel like giving it life, but
But I know he's trying to tell me I shouldn't entertain it at all.
Yeah.
So that's the part of me that I'm working on. I haven't gotten there yet, clearly.
Listen, we are all works in progress. We're all works in progress. The fact that you are aware and you acknowledge God for doing what he did, you already won half the battle, girl. You know what I mean? Because you see it. God's going to continue to work on you with that, but you're also going to elevate during that moment too, because God sees that you're trying. He knows that we're not perfect,
No, and then, I feel like the other part of it too is like, don't feel like you're crazy because sometimes we can be so emotionally, and intelligently aware and that the others around us are not, that we can feel like we're going crazy, right? So don't feel like you're going crazy. Just know that they haven't grown in the areas that you have. And, one of the things that I've done is I have to give my people, before I even start to manage them, a book to read, right? Because I need you to open up your self-awareness because this management that I'm about to take you on you're going to grow. You know what I mean? Because nothing that I touch does not grow. You know what I mean? Because anything that can grow dies. And I'm not the giver of death. God has told me I'm the giver of life.
Yes.
So, like, I need to get you prepared for, this fertilization and watering that's about to take place because you're going to be real uncomfortable. But I need you to understand that you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Because that's the best place to be.
Right. Listen, you got the right idea. You know what I mean? Again, we're all works in progress. And even just you setting the boundaries and setting the tone for your office, because a lot of times it's the environment matters too, right? So if you're creating an environment that is transparent, and one that's flexible and room to grow, you can't do anything but respect that. You know what I'm saying?
Part
Unless
of
you're,
Yeah,
huh?
and the craziest part about it is trying to do that in a toxic environment, because nowadays a lot of these corporate offices, a lot of jobs are toxic environments. So it's
Mhm.
trying to create that balance and that safe space within that, right? Can be hard sometimes, and it can take it can take a lot and feel like a lot on you.
Yeah, yeah, it can, but if I would give you a little bit of advice if you don't mind.
No,
Um,
please, by all means.
okay, thank you. Um,
Like, girl, please
yeah.
give it to me.
So what I've learned is, of course, we can't control the trajectory of the office. We can't control other people. We can only control us, right?
Correct.
So for me, I begin my day with prayer. And it may sound cliche,
Oh,
but
no.
it really has worked for me. Another thing I do is I play all uplifting gospel music, something that's going to speak to my spirit, because you got this, you got that, and you need something that's going to kind of keep you
Right.
aware of what God is doing and what your purpose is. What are you trying to achieve? I've noticed when I just listen to like the radio or something, I would get very agitated really quick with certain things, right? But again, it's about finding mechanisms that works for you. But in that, the only person you can control is you. You can give them the book, but are they going to read it? You know what
Right.
I mean? Like, that's like a leading a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Right.
Agreed.
So once you become comfortable and accept the fact that you can't change everybody, but you could change you, it gives you more power, because you know that you could control what you allow to penetrate, right? Because like for example, you get into an argument, like you'll be having a good day, you get into an argument with somebody that was already having a bad day.
Right.
Now their toxicity has penetrated you, and now you're annoyed. Now you have that spirit that
Yeah,
bounced
that
off them.
transfer of energy.
It is. And I'm telling you, I used to try so hard, like trying to be like kumbaya with this and help people with that. Now I just man myself, like, listen, y'all go ahead and be crazy around me. I'm gonna sit here and listen to this gospel, do my work. Y'all can get my face. You know what I mean? Like, you
Look,
you gotta
let me tell you
find something that
something.
works for you.
It's so funny that you say that, because that's exactly, my routine.
Mhm.
And, they are like, well, what happened to you? You seem so calm now. I'm like, because let me tell you something. When I tried to, give you the extra
Mhm.
sauce, right? You guys didn't want it. It was just a little bit too much. So I had to pull back. And
Yeah.
now the only thing that I'm going to focus and concern myself with is what's in front of me, right?
Yeah.
And those who I'm responsible for. Like, I
Yeah.
can't help you or make any suggestions on how to improve what you're working on, because you've already showed me that you don't want my suggestions. So I'm
Yeah.
good with, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? That doesn't
Yeah.
bother me. And
Yeah.
the thing is, the fact that you're upset that it doesn't bother me is weird to me, but I'm gonna let you have that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even gonna pick that up and take that on. Like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna let you live there. And these
Yeah.
are the things that, as I'm teaching myself, I'm teaching others. And
Yes.
and I'm showing them like in real time, because I'm breaking it down to them. Like, like in the past, I would have responded this way. But you see, like, I've removed that, right, and responded this way. And then look how this individual is acting. Now they don't know what to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they were expecting something that they're not going to get.
And they don't know how to handle that sometimes, because when you have this certain expectation and it doesn't come to fruition, you're confused.
Right. And
You
then
know
the
what I
other
mean?
thing too, right? And I'm not gonna say put a little salt on, right? Is when they don't allow you to give, like when they don't give you that, right? Well, I could have given you a different response than when I gave you. And they don't want to give you that because they still want to get that other response. They want to see how good
Mhm.
you are. I do it just like this. So you know, I don't even say like I could have said something else, right? I say,
Mhm.
so are we not allowing people room to grow?
Mhm.
Because this is definitely an environment where we're developing one another.
Right.
And this is what I'm understanding and hearing. I just want to make sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then how can they respond to that?
Right.
Because I could have said, well, you know, if you want the other response, but no, then that's me giving you what you want. But I'm
Yeah.
going to show you just how well I got this and just how good I see you. And
Yeah.
then we like taking back, oh, yeah, like I'm going to have to be, no, yeah, you are. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing that I discovered, right, is the difference between how they are with my white female counterpart than they are with me.
Okay. When
Um,
you say they, who are you referring to?
like, you know, the superiors, like my managers, like,
Okay.
you know, those above me. When it comes to my peers, my white peers, they'll approach them differently, right? You know, they're much more softer
Mm.
with her than they are with me because they expect me to be this strong, you know, aggressive type of, you know, when they approach me. So, you know, even me taking on assignments, you know, I have to be mindful of how I respond and
Mhm.
act, even in email form, right? Because you
Mhm.
can't be too aggressive in email form. And, you know, even when I try to repeat back to make sure that I'm understanding what's being asked of me, uh, they want to say that I'm being condescending when it's just like, no, I'm just trying to make sure that I understand. You know, my apologies if it's coming off condescending, but you know, I like to deliver, you know, over deliver. You know what I mean? Under promise and over deliver. That is what I like to do. So I want to make sure that I'm hitting the key points. So if I'm asking certain questions, it's because I want to make sure I heard you correctly.
Right. And the unfortunate thing about that, some people, not all, because I know some really great white people, right? But some, others, I have so many thoughts that's like trying to get out of my head at one time. Um, like let's say for
Because it does that. It does that.
it does, right? It annoys me because I'm trying to get like one point out, but it are just like all like trying to
Yes.
girl. But sometimes, certain white people may not have grown up with black friends or in the black environment, so all they know of black people is what they see on the news,
Yep.
right? Yeah, and the ignorance that's aired on social media. So that's
Right.
their only perception of what a black person is and does. So for you to come in educated but outspoken, you're put into that equation, right?
Right.
And unfortunately, sometimes you were not able to change someone else's perception because, again, you would think in the work environment, you want people to be transparent. And it sounds to me, I don't know exactly, but just the way when you're talking, it sounds to me like that person is committed to misunderstanding you. Like they're intentionally trying to misunderstand you by saying you're condescending. If you weren't being condescending, excuse me, if you were being condescending, you wouldn't have apologized, but you can't control how that person views you. And when it gets to that level where you feel like this is just not good because it's going to call into question your development. You're going to
Right.
start reflecting like, well, dang, I said it nicely. Like, yo, before you would have got something else. You know what I mean? And you'll internalize that. And I want you to be careful of that because some people are just idiots and are just jerks, because they ain't got, they can't control nothing at home. So they come to
Right.
work with an S on their chest.
Right. Because
So
that's all they have. But can I tell you in that moment, you know, when I apologized, it kind of it took away all the, you know, from the situation. But
mhm,
even at the same time, God told me, like, you know, now that I've shown you what you're dealing with, make sure you follow it accordingly. So now you
yeah,
know how to proceed moving forward.
yes, yes,
And conversations, you know, in email form, making you CYA cover yourself, you know, just to make sure because they already have their perception of you, which we know is inaccurate.
yeah. And you can't tell somebody's tone when you're reading an email. Same with a text. You're reading it in your mental state, in your space, right? Your perception of how this person, unless it's like in all caps and all red, you
Right.
can't really say like this is aggressive. You know what I mean? So they definitely teach you like when email, you really gotta be, a little careful,
Yes.
just so you're not perceived as being aggressive, condescending, or passive aggressive or whatever else they want to say. But
Yes.
I will say Growing is a constant process. It never ends. So this is what it's going to be until the day God calls us home. We will forever be working on ourselves because we'll always notice our flaws. But in that, make sure that you give yourself credit and you be kind to yourself on how far you've come. Because a lot of people feel like, well, this is just me. I'm not changing. I don't care. But
Right.
you seen something different. You know what it took or what it takes for you to elevate, and you are a grown up about it, and you're trying to change how people are viewing you, although you're limited in that, but you are trying to change you for the better. So I want you to I commend you for that, because that takes a lot of, that's taking a huge step,
It
right?
takes a lot, you know what I mean? Because once, one is you have to let your pride aside, because
Yes,
pride and growth don't go hand in hand.
at
And
all.
um,
Oil and vinegar.
okay. So it's like even just letting that go and just walking in love, you know what I mean? Because that's what I had to do. I'm such a loving person. I always have been. And I
Yes,
think it's my loving nature that made me the way that I am, kind of like protective and very selective of
yes.
who I allow in and out and around me.
Mhm.
But it's kind of like softening that up so it doesn't come out looking like a roaring lion, because that's not what it is at all. You know, that's not what
Right.
it's called to be. But yeah, I love this.
Yeah, me too. I love it. I love it too. And I love to see growth in people, especially because I love you. You're my fellow Aquarian. We love hard, we're passionate about what we're saying. And it's not to hurt you but we're very protective of ourselves, because we are like so tough on the exterior, but on the inside, we're like all mush and goo
Yeah.
and gooey stuff. You know what I mean? So
So we have to
yeah,
protect that. You know what I
we
mean?
do. We do. We do. But in our protecting, we have to also make sure that we're not blocking our blessings, and we are actually seeing things for what they are and seeing what it is God wants us to see, so we can change whatever we need to change, because He can't elevate us to our highest selves if we're still stuck in certain mind frames, or
Look,
portraying certain behaviors.
I agree wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I'm currently on the south side of the kingdom, and I'm trying to move on up like the Jeffersons. I got
Yes, girl. Yes, yes.
done, you know what I mean? I'm trying to be as peaceful as they come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I still have the fiery nature in me, but
Yeah.
make sure that it's being delivered in the right way. And I'm almost there. You know what I mean? I'm almost there. I got a couple of more things that I'm working on discipline wise. And I want to say these are the hardest two, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hardest two, but I'm determined to get them. And God's put me in a situation where I have to get them, because
Mhm.
there's no other moving up until we check these two boxes. So,
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely. And God's going to keep on giving you these circumstances as a test, because again, you have to pass this test in order for you to elevate to where you want to elevate to. So,
look,
I'll pray to God for something like patience, right? You got to be careful
I
what you
said
ask
that
God for.
prayer. Girl, I
I
said
mean,
that prayer. Look,
girl, you
you know
gotta
what
be
you're asking
careful what
for.
you, yeah, because God's gonna give it to you. So I be telling God, like, I want, X, Y, and Z, but God, I ain't ready for no test yet, because I'm a fail. Please don't give me no
Right.
test yet. You know what
Right.
I mean? So it's just, it's relentless work. And even when you conquer, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but even when you conquer and check those two boxes, Siobhan, when you move up, it's going to be something else. New
Yep. Just to make
levels, new
sure,
levels.
just to make sure that I conquered them, right?
Yes,
And it's just not a facade.
yes.
So look,
New levels, new devils,
yes.
and that's what it's always going to be work. It's always going to be work. It's
That's why it's
always,
so important to remember the beauty in the journey, right?
yes,
And not to
yes,
be so hard on ourselves. You know what I
yep,
mean? And to have, create a safe space. And if you don't have one, to maybe journal and write, just to get it
yes,
out and not to
yes.
keep it in, right? Because when we internalize stuff, it becomes toxic when we
It
don't
does.
speak to ourselves the right way.
100% becomes toxic, because it's all these negative feelings in you with no escape, right? God said it best: write it down, make it plain. Like, if people don't have people that you trusted, people that to confide in, or they feel like they won't be safe telling their business to, like you said, journal. Because think about it: when you got a whole bunch of stuff on your mind, right? You're like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. When you write it down, that frees up space in here
Yeah.
for answers, for proactivity, for everything else that God needs you to do, or that you need to just do, or whatever the case may be. But if you keep it in there, it all just, it's like a whirlwind. But
Yeah.
once you write it down, you'd be like, all right, so you check this off. So now it's no longer in here.
Right. And not only that, as you're checking them off, you start to feel accomplished.
You do.
That creates positive emotions and releases those positive endorphins in your body, the ones that we need.
I love it. 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 I love it a lot. It's so true. It's so true. You feel accomplished. Like, all right, I got 2 out of my 14 boxes.
Right.
But
something is better than nothing at all. Okay. You got to start somewhere.
Yes, I still got 12, but God, I'm working, you know? Okay. So, yeah, it's important for us not to be hard on ourselves. And, you know, we are our own worst critics. That's just what it is. You know, but just when you become aware, you also understand that you have to, like, when at the ladies that I had a vendor there, she's also a friend, and you know, was buying certain things. I'm like, don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you need to do something nice for you, to even, not even just to celebrate, but just to, because we don't work just to pay bills. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, you want to do something that makes you feel good. Like, I was out of work for the last 2 days. I went and got a massage. I went and got a facial. I went and got my nails. Like, I this, and I went and got me something to eat.
You know, it's so funny that she say that, because I think I was on Instagram yesterday and I ran across a meme and it says, pull out that dress and go out. Stop momming so hard and hustling and remember to live.
Yes, you have to.
That's something that we do. You know what I mean? We get so caught up in life and trying to provide that sometimes we forget to live. Right.
We do.
And it's like, and it's in that living that helps us to, you know, have longer lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're not put here. God get, you know, we have children, but we still need to have a life, because that's what creates the balance. If you keep just going with kids, spouses, sports, work, you're going to burn out. And when you burn out, who's to say how that's going to end? So it's important to just even, you know, take some time. If you want to just take a bubble bath, light a candle, and have a glass of wine and just relax and just be out of your head for a little bit. You owe it to yourself. People owe that to themselves, to just give yourself a break. Life is already hard, right? Give yourself a break.
It's so important to be able to do that, because you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Yes. Which is why I love pouring into other people's cups, because I understand the power that God's given me. I understand the spirit that he's given me. And I understand that sometimes people don't have people to pour into their cups. So I like to do that, but mine too needs to be. So I don't rely on other people to fill it. I do for me, which is why I went and got my massage and my facial, because that was me refilling my cup so I could continue to pour, right? Because like you said, you can't pour from an empty cup.
And can I tell you, I love that for you, and I love you for it.
Thank you, boo. I love you for everything you are, everything you was. I still remember you on a cheerleading team, like 1, 2, 3.
I know.
You be kidding, girl. You was whipping our butts into shape. I was like, oh, I gotta go home. I think I'm about to quit.
It was just all the energy that I have, which I still have.
Yes, and you have not changed. Like not in the, I mean, just like your personality, I love that about you. You're just the same.
Look, when I tell you, it's so funny, and I'll give this to you. I remember the moment that I decided to make the decision to always stay true to myself. I'm going to say I was like 13, 14 years old. And, you know, I was going through something at home where my mom felt as though I was doing a lot outside of the house because I didn't want to be home. And I was trying to explain to her, like, you know, I'm different, Mom. Like, you know, if God forbid if something was to happen to you, it's just me. So I'm trying to make sure that I set myself up, that, you know, I'm not relying on you to just be able to pull me through, right? When colleges are looking to give out scholarships, they're looking for the whole rounded person. Are you good in school? Are you able to keep your grades? What extracurricular activities did you do? Well, how involved with you in the community? And I was just making sure I was hitting all of those boxes. You know what I mean?
Right.
She wasn't understanding that. So I was feeling like a little bit down. And it's so funny, right? Because I was listening to Mary J. Blige, My Life. And when she said
Mhm.
that line, say what's on your mind and you'll find in time that all the negative energy will all cease. And that
Girl.
hit me. That was like a
Mm.
chord that struck in my soul. And I said, you
Mhm.
know what, God, if this is what you put in me and I don't feel like it's wrong, then I'm going to stand on it, right? Because I'm not
Mhm.
hurting anybody. And, I have the best intentions and that's what I'm putting out there. And that's what I
Mhm.
still want from here on out, which is why I've always been so transparent. I can't
I
be
love
anything
it.
but me.
I absolutely love that. I think it's very important for people to remember those most pivotal moments, some eye awakening
Those
moments.
epiphanies.
Yes, they're required because once you have those and you go through life and you keep, enduring new challenges and getting over them, you can always go back to that moment where you realize that you changed. And that is going to be valuable to someone else who's going to need it because God is rounding his children up for a reason, right?
Yes.
He's getting us all ready for a reason because you see the state of the world that we're in. The environment is just terrible, right?
Okay.
He needs a little bit of old school. We're not too old. We're in our 40s, but we ain't that old. But he needs us to have he needs the old school morals and the backgrounds and you know what I mean? So it's just important. Again, it's a lot of responsibility. It's going to be a lot of work, but I see that you are on the right path. And I'm so proud of you, Siobhan. Like I
Oh,
am
and
so
likewise, sister. Likewise, my
yes,
sister. You know what I
thank
mean?
you.
Like, and the thing that I love about it the most is, we always pick up where we left off. It's like we never ever skipped a beat. And
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
But that just goes to show we're real friends because it's not like, oh, I ain't talked to her and she ain't. Nah, I love you. I will
Yes.
always love you. We will always be friends. And we do need to catch up soon, though. We do need to go out and have a drink. We need to start, I want to start being around people that I love more because you just never know, when we're all going to go and when, what or when someone needs you and they just don't say it. So I definitely want us to start connecting at least
You know
once a month, maybe.
what? I was just as blessed by this experience, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, as you are. So it's like, we can pour into each other where
Yes.
neither one of us is pouring from an empty cup. Like, let's
Yes.
overflow each other so that way
Girl,
that
listen.
overflow can hit those around us.
Yes, yes, I
So,
love it. That's
the word,
yeah,
the word.
yeah. I love it. That's what this is all about, honey. That's what this is all about. Yes, I am with it. I am with it. Oh my God, this interview was so great. Like, do you have any parting words, any advice you would like to give before we go?
Yeah, so I would just say I feel like it's definitely important that you love yourself and you stay grounded within that, and everything will grow from there. And if you don't know how to do that, I definitely feel like you should start with God, right? Because God tells us what we should and how we should see ourselves. And if you don't know how to do that, and I'm definitely say you should stay around and tune in to Kay, because I'm sure she's dropping jewels on a daily basis that will help to water the seeds that we've just planted. That's all I got, boo. I
Um,
appreciate
thank you so much. Thank you for giving me my flowers. Thank you for just now. You open giving me my flowers and you close and giving me my flowers. Girl, I just got so many flowers around me. I'm about to
you.
take them
Look,
rose petals off and put them in the tub and relax.
it's so important to, not only love on you in private, but to love on you in public as well.
Yes,
There's too
yes,
many
I appreciate
people,
that.
love behind closed doors, but sometimes some people really need to feel it like out in the open.
Yeah, that's something that God's working on me with. Just the support of certain individuals that I think should be different. So just you doing that and saying that, you don't know what you just gave me. So I appreciate you for that because it's not often that I get that. I get that from a few people. And not saying I do it for that reason, but it's
No,
just good to hear and to know that it's sincere, right? Because we all need that person that's going to like push you and be like, "Girl, you doing good." And it's not just, "Girl, you doing good." You're actually saying it on a public forum, and I 110% thank you for that because you
but
really just
keep going. Look, I'm one of your
yes.
silent fans, if you can't tell, which is how I made it here, because I'll be watching in the background. I'm like the best nosebleed seat watcher there is. Okay, I like to sit quiet in the comments and just pop out when need be.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I thank you so much. So much. I would definitely love to have you back. I think that we can talk about so many different subjects related to mental health and incorporating God, so we can help bring other people, because God is what helps us weather those storms. If
Agreed.
people aren't grounded in a higher power, and whomever they may believe, right? As long as you have a higher power, mine is God, Jesus, yours, God, Jesus, that helps us to navigate those storms because he gives
Yes,
us what we need
that's
to get
the anchor
beyond it.
and the foundation.
Yeah, do you see? You can't see my angle on this because it's so big, but that's my emblem, not my emblem, my what's it?
Logo.
Yeah, girl.
Look how
Listen,
God. Look
sometimes
how
I
God.
might,
Look how God
girl,
be
my
working.
flatline is sometimes like,
Don't you worry about it, because what the God say? When you are weak, I am come to make you strong. I got you, boo.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, honey. Thank you so, so, so very much. I really
You're
appreciate you
welcome.
blessing my platform with your grace and your story and your encouragement. You've been amazing, and I thank you so very much.
Well, thank you for having me. I look forward to coming back whenever you have me.
Absolutely. Whenever you're ready, girl. Yes.
Blessings to everyone watching.
Yes, yes. Blessings, blessings to you, and blessings to you as well, Siobhan. And I thank everyone for tuning in to My Matters with Kay, featuring Miss Warren. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.